Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy Friday, Phil. Welcome back. Hope everybody out there had a great Thanksgiving. We even celebrated it down here in Mexico, believe it or not. We found a turkey and we made all the traditional food items. So we've kind of been in a coma for the last, I don't know. We did Thanksgiving on Thursday. Then, as you know, you always have too much food, right? So then we did it again on Sunday. So I've had two Thanksgivings this week.
We addressed the too much food thing a little differently this year, and it worked out really well. We cooked a main entree every day, but a smaller portion. So every day it was gone, and we had like a whole new meal, but it was a full-blown Thanksgiving meal every day for 4 days. So I'm going to do that more, save money and more variety.
Yep.
Are you ready for me, Mike?
I am ready.
All right. Well, we're going to start out with OpenAI. OpenAI just handed out over $40 million to nonprofits, from orchestras to journalism groups, after rebranding its nonprofit arm as the OpenAI Foundation. And it's part of a much bigger $25 billion commitment to health research and AI safety. With unrestricted funding flowing into communities that aren't even tech-focused, Mike, is this the right way to shape the future of AI, or a strategic move to soften public trust as lawsuits stack up?
Oh gosh, did you just ask me 40 questions all in the one there, I think?
Well, they're giving money to people that there's no clear connection to tech or AI, and they're being looked at really harshly. So it appears as though they're like paying people off to shut up.
Well, so let's address that first. So I think first you have to define what exactly is AI, right? And maybe I look at it a little bit different, but to me, AI is a tool that is able to be used by any Joe Schmo anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so if you're giving grant money or award money to people, you could look at it as you're trying to buy people. First of all, I'm not sure what the negative is necessarily concerning the AI thing. Let me rephrase that. There's certain elements of it that I completely recognize as public perception that are negative about AI. However, if you look at it as a broader scope of, I'll give you an example. So I think, well, I'm going to speak for myself. Out there, I think everybody today uses AI to some extent, whether that's like you do a Google search on the internet. And, when we used to do a Google search, you do a Google search of, something, and you'd have a bunch of results come up. Now, the top result is always AI driven, right? So it's AI answering the question. And typically, I think, at least for myself, a lot of times I don't go that much deeper than it. It gives me the answer. And if I go, and if I drop down and I try to go even deeper, I ended up with the same result. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that that seems to be fairly accurate. I mean, I'm not going to say it's perfect. And then I'll give you another example. So me being living down here in Mexico, obviously our healthcare is a little bit different. So when I was in the States, I had insurance in America, and now I have health insurance down here in Mexico. But it is so cheap, quite honestly, to do any kind of healthcare down here. It's amazing. So I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I went to get my blood tested on my own accord. I just went in and I said, look, I want a complete blood test, cholesterol and, all the usual, big comprehensive blood exam, and down here, of course, it was only like $40. So, and it came back the same day. Can you believe that? And in any case, I took that entire email that they sent me from the blood lab and copy and pasted it and stuck it in ChatGPT, right? So here I'm going to use AI to basically analyze my health. So it comes back with, you'd be surprised. I don't know if any of you out there have ever done that, but you put all that stuff in and it comes back and it says, all about this is your lipids and this is your cholesterol and this is recommended. It's kind of amazing. So for somebody like me that doesn't have, and by the way, this is typical in America, where you're not have access necessarily to convenient healthcare. I'm just giving you a couple of examples of how AI works. So, because I think when we start talking about AI, a lot of people immediately jump to the negative stuff, right? They jump into like fake news or fake pictures, or you go on TikTok and you see the shit that happens and like it didn't really happen, right? Like it's fooling you and all this other stuff. So AI is a big. I don't know how else to say it, but it's just it's a very broad general term for a lot of things, and OpenAI is one of those. I call it companies. See, right now there's a struggle between, if you look at financially now, if you look at the biggest companies in the world, who right now is like driving the stock market are companies that are benefiting from AI, right? I mean, they're the chip makers in particular, like Nvidia, is like gangbusters doing. Like the results are so good because it's taking so much computing power to do this new artificial intelligence world that we're living in. So I know I didn't really answer the question. I'm all over the place, but I want people out there listening to understand AI means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And I know there's probably 80% of the people out there go, oh, I don't use that shit. Well, to be honest with you, you do. You just don't know it.
Right. Did you pay your bill? Yeah. How'd you do it? Online? Oh, shut up.
Exactly.
All right. I want to address some of the things that you said, Mike. I agree. OpenAI is just another tool. And it's a term that's encompassing a lot of different things. But like any other tool, I'll even use a gun as an example. I think a gun is an excellent tool. It can be used to provide food for hundreds and thousands of people, and then it can be used to create a Holocaust and get rid of a whole race of people. So it's what you do with the tool. So back to the AI. Yes, on the surface, it does everything that you said. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society, so I just think it's not a wise idea to just be looking at this through rosy-colored glasses, because all the examples in history of businesses and technology and everything has shown that they will do all of those negative things that, you were making fun of people for thinking and feeling. It comes out, hey, this company wasn't all the way on the up and up. Hey, there was some glitches in the AI and it caused these deaths making these decisions for insurance companies or in your Tesla or whatever it may be. So I'm on both sides. I'm a tech guy. I like new technology. I like science. I like going forward. But I am not at all going to pretend like we live in a utopian society where people are going to use it correctly, including the creators of it. So I believe that actually there isn't enough pessimism about AI in general and any moves that it makes outside of just being AI. Because why is AI being philanthropic at all? There's no purpose. And I mean, we can pretend, oh, they're helping people, but we're both old enough and been around long enough to know that the only reason a company gets involved in philanthropy of any kind, opens up a 501, 504, any of that type stuff, is to either one, cover up money, or two, give off an impression of themselves opposite of what people are feeling towards them. And it don't ever be different. So I just go with history on a lot of these thoughts. It's a bad idea. I believe that companies shouldn't be allowed to have a charitable foundation connected to them. It should be all dollars and cents. And if people on their own want to give money, give it. Because if you see the list of people, it doesn't make sense. But they are sending money to content creators, people who make music. They are sending it to journalists, journalistic societies and organizations. So they are figuring out, let's give the money to people who will sculpt the impression moving forward of what AI is and make it easier for us. So
yeah,
that's what
all those groups of people that you just mentioned are what forms opinion for the general population. I mean, they're communicators, right? So that, yeah, it's hard to hide that. You know, you and I have talked about, I like the way you worded that. We're, capitalist society. I'll use drones as an example. We've talked about this, and I noticed that the DJI came out with the new Mavic Pro drone. It is so. I was watching some videos of this thing. It's so good, generated by AI, that I was. I mean, I have 4 drones, right, and they're all pretty damn good, to be honest with you. They're all DJIs, but they'll fly to you, and they've got tracking and sensory and cameras and all that stuff. And yeah, I could get mine to within let's call it 4 or 5 feet from my head, and then it's smart enough to know that I can't get any closer. The new drone, the new Mavic that just came out, you can fly that thing about an inch away from your nose. It is so advanced and so accurate, and a lot of these algorithms are generated by AI, and you just hit a nail on the head. To think about that, how wonderful that technology is, but at the same time, damn well that is going to be, those DJI drones are going to get strapped with some kind of sticks of dynamite or something, and they're going to be used for negativity, right?
Well,
and they already are.
Yeah, I was about to say, technically they have. They're just not called DJI.
Right, exactly. So maybe some of them are, but
right.
Yeah.
But Mike, I just showed you a new DJI drone, and it has all of this AI on it that you said. It's a different model. It's the Neo one.
Yeah.
And you literally, all you need to do is stick your hand out, and it'll do everything else. It'll follow you. It'll take any kind of shots. You could do a full-on production as a content creator and never do anything. Just it'll do everything.
Yep. I mean, correctly. And that's from, by the way, that's what you're talking about, the source, right? You're talking about the actual footage and filming of it. Mm-hmm. Then you could take that exact same footage and put it into AI in YouTube that's integrated it now. And you can, or into Final Cut or any one of the editing software programs, and it will AI edit everything for you and give you a final result. And then you can you can do voiceovers. You can do your own voiceover with your voice, but it ain't you talking. So so there's just like an amazing amount of technology out there, and it all sounds, from my perspective, of course, it sounds exciting, but every one of those things obviously has a negative side to it. So when I hear about companies trying to, I agree with you, Phil. Nobody's ever started up a charitable arm of any organization because they just felt like being nice. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. That's bullshit. That's lobbying money, right? That's lobbying.
Exactly. Because like you were even mentioning about the how it can change the voice. Well, something that came up back when SAG or the actors had to strike and everything was using their voices and stuff like that for AI. So like, let's say you were talking and it made it sound like you were Morgan Freeman or something like that. Yeah. The point I'm getting to about telling that is people immediately started using it for the bad versus the good.
Yes.
Yep. So it's just crazy to think that this is good.
Yeah, I know. If you spend any amount of time on TikTok, like I do, you can listen to whole conversations between George Washington and Ronald Reagan, and then Trump walks in the room, and it all looks real, and it all sounds like their voice, and they're all having this conversation, and you're like, how the hell did they do that? And I remember when the very first instance of this happened when Star Wars in the movie came out, and they used what's his name that had already passed away, and everybody was up in arms about a dead actor, using his likeness or his voice or anything else. And holy shit, we're way past that now. I mean, we can do anything really. So it's crazy.
I agree, bruh. So, Mike, a student at the University of Oklahoma cited the Bible in a psychology paper called Gender Ideology, Demonic. He got a 0, and now the instructor's on leave while the school investigates discrimination. The university says the grade wasn't about beliefs, but about answering the assignment. Mike, where's the real line between academic standards and religious free speech? Should this ever become a disciplinary issue?
Oh man, you're all into the loaded questions today. I mean, so obviously there's different kinds of higher education. There are colleges that are affiliated with religion. That one is not, right?
This is the University of Oklahoma, so it's a state school.
A very, very religious, conservative state.
I was going to say they're in the South, but this is a psychology paper.
Yep.
And this was a paper about gender ideology.
Right.
So the way I see it is, there is no opinion that could be given that you should be given an F for.
Correct.
It's about ideology.
Yeah, any kind of opinion is an opinion.
Yes, I can have an ideology that's in a vacuum that nobody else has.
Right.
So just looking at it in a logical, elementary way, this should have never been addressed. Matter of fact, you should pat the person on the back for going outside the box, since it's ideology and it's about gender. If you try to profess all these other genders, then you should be the last one trying to put parameters around people's thoughts and mindsets.
Irony, right? Yeah.
Because you be asking people to take a big stretch.
Yep. I mean, okay, so we're not going to get into this now, but I mean, that's an example, obviously, of higher education and politics at play, right? So you've got a education system in the United States that's very, very controlled by politics, by it's thought. I call it thought police, right? It's
very specific politics. See, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think it's both, bro. Going on a college campus is like going to North Korea.
Give me an example.
Well, if I walked down the street with a MAGA hat, in either case, I'd get attacked, right?
Right.
They have
well, I mean, I could bring up there are some on the other side, like Liberty University. I mean, there are certainly some higher education that is way on the right as well. But
I agree, but speaking, I can run them off. I can run the name of them off right now
Yeah.
All of them. I
You
can't run off all the names of the
No.
liberal ones because
No, you know.
because after
We
I
can't
name
even
them,
fit them.
after I name the 5 conservative ones, I just say, and all the rest are liberal.
Exactly. So if you got to start reading them off, the ones that are in New England, you'll be here. We'll be here for the next 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bro, I used to live in Boston. It's this little school. I think it's called Wesley.
Wesleyan or Wesleyan.
And
Wesley College too. Yeah.
I'm trying to say this in a real nice way because I don't mean anything negative. I'm just making the point. It's all women and they like it that way.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Uh-huh.
And this school could not exist in any other state.
Right. Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, I don't know how to politely say this one too, but I used to have a restaurant in Northampton, Massachusetts, and that area, Northampton and Amherst, is so liberal, and there are schools there that not only do you have to be a woman, you pretty much got to be a lesbian too. So, I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but it's true. Like Smith College, I'll give you an example. I mean, you find somebody there that's, anyways, right? I mean,
but I love Boston.
Yeah.
Mike, Senator Bernie Moreno, and I specifically brought this up specifically because of you, because I really want to hear your opinion about this. Okay. Senator Bernie Moreno just introduced a bill to ban dual citizenship entirely, forcing millions of Americans to choose one nationality or lose their U.S. status. And that could even impact Melanie Trump and Barron. It raises constitutional, logistical, and political landmines all at once. Mike, do you see this as a serious national security move or a bill that collapses the moment it hits the courts?
Oh, that's going to collapse. I mean, for one, you can't. So I'm not even sure what the goal is, to be honest with you, because if somebody has dual citizenship, I'll use myself as an example. So my grandparents born in Ireland, I can go get an EU citizenship, right? Mm-hmm. A legit one, and that means I would be carrying a United States and a European Union passport. So what? I mean, how does that affect me in the United States? And how and at what point does the United States have a right to know? First of all, I'm not sure how they would implement that. How would they even know? For one, I mean, there's like all sorts of logistics involved in this. Or I'll take another step further. I can get. I mean, I'm within years of getting citizenship in Mexico. I could get as well. So what? So what if I have citizenship in Mexico and the United States? I mean, most other countries could care less what countries you have a passport in or not have one in. So I don't know. I mean, that to me, that's destined for nowhere.
So I have like 3 opposing thoughts. They all oppose each other. Like, I don't like the idea of countries, states, cities, borders, or anything. I feel like the world should be my oyster, and that some government shouldn't be able to say, you're part of this or you're not part of that. And if you don't have this paperwork, you can't drive across this line. So there's that. Right. So, and that overrules all my other thoughts. But since that's not reality, I have to deal with the other 2. And the other 2 are that I feel like you should be able to have as many, it shouldn't even be dual, it should be triple, however many you want. But here's the third one. I just feel like if you've chosen that you want to have dual citizenship, then you're not up for any political, you just can't be part of anything political. You can't.
Yep. So,
and I think you're, however many citizens, so let's say you had Mexico and Idaho, then I believe your vote should be a third of a vote instead of a whole vote.
So let me address this for a second, because I think this is where this guy is coming from, and let me ask you.
He's saying everybody.
No, I know, but let me ask you: let me ask you this: do you think it's more about people that had a citizenship in another country first? So in other words, I was born in the United States. And my first citizenship was U.S., and then I have an opportunity through time to get other ones. That's different than if I was born in Nigeria and I had a Nigerian passport, and then I came to the United States, and then that's my now my second passport or my second citizenship. I mean, I'm not going to argue that there's potentially a mindset difference. And absolutely. I know you have brought that up
because the way you just said it, if he was putting that out there saying that once you come to America as a citizen from another country, you have to relinquish your citizenship to that country and profess your love for America.
Yeah, see, that's a little bit different.
I'm with that, but you're saying that an American citizen has restrictions,
right? Well, based on that bill, I think he's not distinguishing between one of the
right. Other. This is crazy. His is crazy. Matter of fact, this is one of them bills I don't think he thought was going to pass as is. Right. I believe he knew how to write it in a way that might have gotten passed.
Yep.
This was for the being on a soapbox, his moment, his 15 minutes. That's all this is.
Yep.
Because I don't even think he'll get too many people who agree with him to back him in public, because it's a loser.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Mike, on Monday, the Supreme Court hears Trump versus Slaughter, a case that could hand the president sweeping power to fire federal officials and weaken Congress checks on the executive office. Is this the moment the balance of power truly tilts toward an all-powerful presidency?
Well, I mean, I look at it as this is like one of those rock slides where the little pebbles start coming down, and then the bigger rocks start falling down, and then the boulders start rolling. I mean, this has been going on for a while. This is not something that is new. I think this is another notch in executive power if indeed they side with Trump. I don't know whether they will or not, but if they don't, sadly, I think that's probably a temporary setback, and there'll be something else that pops up next that will continue to shift the power, because I think that's what we're seeing.
So which way do you think they should rule?
Well, I mean, I don't really know enough about the actual. I don't really know enough about the actual case to. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, the president, he would gain more authority to remove independent federal officials. This is basically what it's addressing. So there are certain government officials. It's got to do with
the firings.
But more specifically, not just firings, but who they fire. There are certain people who have been granted positions in government, and it's stated that, right. And this is basically the argument that the president can be like, forget all that. He's out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting argument, because typically if you're the CEO of a company, you have unlimited power pretty much to fire anybody that works for the company. So if you look at the United States as a company, and I know it's not, but if you look at it that way, which, by the way, is exactly the way Trump looks at it, then he has the power to fire any employee because they all work for him. He's at the top. So I get the argument from that side. I'm not saying it's necessarily right.
Let's use your example to make it apples to apples. There are a lot of big companies, just like what you described, but then there's an outside entity that's on their salary that's there to monitor them. They're, especially like in tech,
right,
aeronautics and things like that. And that outside entity, even though it's on your payroll,
Right.
you can't fire them.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
good reason for that.
Yep.
And it's the same reason. It's,
Yep. Same
I
reason.
need this person to be autonomous. I need this person to be able to make decisions that aren't left or right and not be worried about
Well,
losing
like,
my job.
the judicial system is a good example of that. So, like, your anybody that's, like Pam Bondi or anybody that's in that particular department is supposed to, we've always been led to believe, is supposed to be acting independent of the administration and always siding with the law. Now, you're laughing because that's a load of crap.
Right.
It's a total load of crap.
How do you hire somebody and you don't have any sway on them?
Right. Bullshit. I call bullshit. Right. Yeah. And this administration has taken it to a whole new level.
Yes. So do you think he should get these sweeping powers or not? Because I don't think he should. Okay.
No, I know I don't either. No, I definitely don't. But
I don't think he's going to get them, Mike. And the reason why I don't think he's going to get them is because everybody I've brought this up to has had like a guttural reaction to the idea of the president having total power. And I'm talking about true red hat wearing MAGA people. I just don't think most people see this one pretty clearly. Like, no, too much power.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I saw a poll the other day that was indicative and suggestive of the fact that there's many more people in the United States that actually are not, how would I say this, are not necessarily against a dictatorship or a heavy-handed, very centrally controlled executive branch. And that's just the reality of where we are as a society, which is both scary and interesting to me.
I like that. That's accurate. Scary and interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
Mike, the House Oversight just accused Minnesota's leadership of letting what could be over $1 billion in pandemic and social service funds vanish into fraud, with claims of destroyed evidence and even criminal networks tied to the stolen money. Now, Governor Tim Walz and AG Keith Ellison are under formal investigation. Mike, is this government incompetence, political protection, or something worse?
Well, I mean, this traces back to the pandemic and the bailouts and everything. Just in general, the whole thing was fucking crooked from the beginning. Let's be honest. All sorts of money went to all sorts of places that it never should have needed to go or needed to go. And, I saw a lot of that firsthand living at the time in New England, and Massachusetts was another one that I think it's been a bunch of lawsuits over. They did all sorts of crazy shit with the money. So Minnesota doesn't surprise me in the least. It was heavily run by the liberal side. And that was largely where a lot of the I call it the distribution of funds was controlled by, and I'm not putting this all on the liberals, by the way, either, because if you can remember the pandemic fund, I mean, shit, that was approved under under the Republicans as it was, so it's both parties, but when you say to me, are we surprised that billions of dollars disappeared or went to? No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, that's par for the course. That the whole pandemic thing is. I mean, we're in December of 2025. We're almost going into 2026, and we are still dealing with pandemic-related financial shit. I mean, that has screwed up the world for probably decades.
I was about to say, don't look forward to change in your lifetime, Mike.
No, agreed.
That's the sad part. And the crazy thing is, I had a ball during COVID.
Yeah, I know. Hey, yeah.
So, Mike, the Pentagon is now admitting they knew there were survivors after a U.S. strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean and still ordered a second strike that killed everyone on board. Lawmakers are calling it potentially illegal, and the Trump administration says it was fog of war. So here's the real question. Was this a lawful military operation or an unlawful killing carried out with due process?
My answer to this is not going to be popular, probably, but like, let's get to the root of this whole conversation. I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but like, so I mean, I've heard arguments from both sides. You know, the debate goes on, rages on Facebook all the time about, you know, that we're blowing up without due process. We're blowing up, but and then the argument is, well, they're claiming they're fishing boats, and I mean, okay, they're not fishing boats, all right. They're bad guys. They you know, I saw a video of this particular one that was in question, and they had, you know, bales of, you know, cocaine or whatever the hell it was. They were trying to throw it overboard, and I mean, it's a boat with, you know, $200,000 worth of engines on it. Okay, it's got like 4 outboard engines. It's got about 1,000 horsepower. This is not by any definition a fishing boat. Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. I mean, I know a lot of people are arguing about whether or not it's justified, not justified. Now, the fact that it's not a fishing boat, let's just go with that argument for a second. And it is drug runners or bad guys. Does that give us the right to do it? Not by definition. No, it does not. However, let's get to the root cause of what's going on. All we're doing is grandstanding, and we're trying to do regime change in Venezuela, and we're trying to go in and militarily change the balance of the Western Hemisphere. Okay, let's just call it for what it is. The difference this time is that you're seeing it on television, you're seeing it in social media. We've been doing the same shit for 100 years. We've always killed people extrajudiciously. I mean, this is not new. Like, if you think this is
especially in
new,
South and Central America,
especially in Central and South America, exactly. So, you know, all of a sudden, there's holier than thou people that are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we're killing innocent Venezuelans." Okay, that's a fucking terrible argument. Like, let's just forget that argument. That just sounds stupid saying it. Is it breaking the law? Probably, yeah.
Oh, it's breaking international law. So if you're going strictly by law, it even breaks the rules of engagement that the U.S. military has come up with.
Okay, but did anybody have, you know, did that many people have a problem with us bunker busting bombs over in Iran? Or, you know, trying to take out nuclear weapons like we did like 6 months ago or whatever. I mean, you're bombing another sovereign entity, right? That can't be legal either. So, are we upset because these poor fishing guys on a boat? Is that the problem? Is that what we're upset about?
Yes.
Okay, so I call bullshit on that. Who gives a fuck? I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, they're clearly not good people. Okay, like, I've seen enough video of this, you know, to determine that these are not fishing boats. They're not out for joyrides. We're not blowing up yachts. I mean, these are cigarette boats with gigantic engines on the back that are going from point A to point B quickly. That's what their goal is, right? To move something. And
they wouldn't be able to afford them boats.
What's it?
They wouldn't be able to afford the boat.
Exactly. The boat's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. There's nobody is affording that except for a cartel. So at the end of the day, do I care? No. I don't even care if it's illegal or not, to be honest with you. And then the whole thing is like, we bombed them the second time. Well, I mean, The first time was illegal. The first time was
no.
killing people.
That's that's not been the argument. Maybe you're not understanding. The first time is fine.
Yeah. Why is the second time not fine?
Because there were survivors. You're supposed to actually capture them. No, it's a fact.
Okay. Well, yeah, I get it, Phil, but like you're also not supposed to commit genocide.
That's why they have concentration
in Sudan or in Gaza or in Nigeria or anywhere else. I mean, there's a lot of things you're not supposed to do, but
I'm just telling you that's what the argument is, because I mean that's been people. The average person knows that. Oh yeah, if you happen to survive whatever's going on, they're supposed to capture you.
Well, shit. I mean, let's be honest. We could have captured them from the beginning.
There were, I remember there were all these trials, and they all ended up getting pardoned of guys in Vietnam who were doing that. They were just killing everybody. They'd go in the village and just kill everybody.
Right. Now, but so, okay, but let me take this from another standpoint. Let's say it's war. Let's say this is a war. Okay.
They said it was war.
Well, I know. But let's say it's a war. I'm not sure I believe that this is a war, but let's just go with the fact that it's a war. Mm-hmm. So what you're telling me is if a boat with a nuclear weapon is approaching the United States and we bomb it, and two guys live, and they get behind the steering wheel and they start driving it towards Miami, and they survive the first bombing, we're not going to take them out again? Oh, fuck, of course we are.
No, because there's a provision for that. There's still impending danger.
Take them out every time.
That's what I'm saying. But what you're saying, it's all written out. The scenario that you just gave,
rules of war.
There's still impending danger. There wasn't no impending danger from the very beginning of this one. It's not apples to apples, bro. You just have to do like me and say it's wrong, but I'm on the side of wrong. That's all. I'm on the side.
Well, but there was no impending danger in the first place.
That's my point. So I'm not about to try and grease this and make it like America is right. We wrong, but it's my team.
Yep, exactly.
And that's why I get no love from either side, because they want me to, even when you wrong, just say, I'm not. No, you wrong.
No, it's wrong.
But I'm with it.
But here's the thing: is you have some people that are obviously annoyed, upset, mortified, all sorts of words about this happening. However, if I turn it back to what the real task is here, which is regime change in Venezuela. Now you have most people on your side, including most citizens in Venezuela itself, including most of the government.
Most people in America can still to this day can't tell you who's running or who's running it, even though it's in the news.
No, I get it.
Don't nobody here care about that.
But like I'll give you an example. Like down here in Mexico, the Mexicans they can't stand the Venezuelans. They don't like them. They're all on board. I heard conversations here that they're all for Trump going in and bombing Venezuela because it doesn't. They're not friendly with the rest of Latin America in general, and they would love a regime change. As do I think if you will find that most citizens in that country actually support it. So when we go to the root of all of this, I actually think that there's overwhelming support for, quote, the operation. The fact that we're doing illegal things. I got news for you. Everything about a war is illegal, in my opinion, right? It always has been, always will be. So there's no way we're going into Venezuela.
I agree with that.
Without doing something illegal. That's just the reality. As Israel went into, Gaza, it was all illegal, or bombing Lebanon, all illegal, or Syria killing. It's everything. Ukraine and Russia. Look at here's two countries. Both of them are pieces of shit, really. And they're, unfortunately, in America, people have taken one side or the other. Like they've either supported Russia or they supported Ukraine. I mean, they're both evil empires. They're both bad shit, really crooked as hell. I mean, look at Ukraine. Just last week, what's his name's top guy got thrown out and arrested or whatever for embezzling a whole mess of money. These guys are crooks. So like to say that we're going to support Ukraine because they're the little guy and they're the good guys and that's a load of shit. Total load of shit.
They're not even big news no more. Remember that was the biggest news. Now It's like you have to.
Because we don't really care. I think I said that a year ago.
Never did.
It never did. That's what I said. Nobody really gives a shit. No one cares. Don't lie to yourself.
So, Mike, I'm going to end this thing about Venezuela with saying my prediction, which is it's only two things going to happen. I mean, it's going to be a lot of other stuff that happen, but I mean the two major things that's going to happen. Either the president of Venezuela is going to unceremoniously go into exile and leave the country, all of a sudden, or you're going to have a regime within the country do a coup. And I'm willing to bet any amount of money that it's one of those two things.
I think it's going to be both, and I think it's going to happen soon because I believe that Trump has they've already pretty much come out and said it, that they've already offered him to go into exile. They're pushing for it. I heard some internal news out of Venezuela that he's obviously not a dumb. I mean, he's probably considering it. He's going to lose, and I do think that we are also funding. But which, by the way, the opposing party there that's going to do the coup was by all accounts legitimately elected already. Like there's a lot of countries in the world that don't even recognize Maduro as winning the last election. So I think it's going to be a combination. We are already putting in place who is going to take over, and I think we're going to give him the golden slide to slide his way into Cuba or wherever the hell he's going to escape to. Probably Russia.
He better take the exile. His time is running out.
Oh, it's running out.
For people who don't really know how these exiles work, it's the same thing as like a Fortune 500 company and you're getting rid of the CEO.
Yep.
The exile is basically a negotiation on how much his balloon payment or exit payment is going to be.
Yep.
Because they don't just tell you to go. He's going to get paid.
Yeah. And the only question, in my opinion, that we have that we don't know yet is, are we going to do any kind of strategic strikes to force the issue or not? Meaning, are we going to bomb the communications? Are we going to bomb, certain key things in the government to put so much pressure on him that he walks? Similarly to what happened in Syria, where they bombed enough little infrastructures where what's his name decides I got to get on a plane and fly to Russia now. So I it's just whether he's going to go before that happens and I do think that if we're going to launch a missile or two at a radio tower, let's say, that we're talking in the next 10 days. This is going to happen soon.
I can see some extremely strategic hits being done because they don't want to truly destroy the infrastructure or any of that stuff. No. They want to come right in. They want to immediately send in these major companies and start drilling for oil and minerals.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they don't want. They don't want to have
a couple command and control and communication hubs, and that's it.
Believe me, that's how they think, and they're like, we don't want to have to rebuild the whole country, and then there's probably somebody lobbying, we'll blow them up because we're in real estate and construction.
Exactly.
That's really how they looking at this, man.
I know.
Man,
so when you bring up the fact that we hit a second boat with 6 guys on it, that's at the top of the conversation when I say who gives a really rat's ass. That's my point. In the scheme of things, that's. Nobody cares.
So maybe you'll give a rat's ass about this, Mike. President Trump just moved to gut federal fuel economy rules, saying it'll make cars cheaper by killing what he calls burdensome standards. But critics say drivers will pay far more at the pump long term. With EV credits already being axed, Mike, do you see this lowering sticker prices in any meaningful way? Or is this about propping up gas guzzling profits?
I think it's about breaking California, if you ask me. I think that the rest of the United States has been largely subjected to the California's control over the EPA. So because look at it this way, all this California emission stuff, the standards that they set were above and beyond even the federal standards. So automaker, particularly the United States ones, did not want to have to make two cars, right? So they've had to comply to a set standard that was pushed on them many years ago. Um, this is all about politics, though. I mean, personally, I think the EV thing and all that's going away because it's a failed business model. It's just not working. So, and the problem is that we have infinite amounts of reserve. Unlike, well, I think you and I talked about this on another show. Yeah, I remember, back in, I don't know, what was it, the 70s? They told us we're running out of oil by 1986 or something. And now the new estimate is like we've got enough for the rest of human life, and they keep finding more. So, I watched this show called Landman, and it's kind of funny because there's some episodes of that talk about it, and there's a dichotomy between the oil guys and then the quote environmentalists, and it's like the oil guys just simply like, look, until you guys decide that you don't really want to, you come up with a new solution or you don't want to do this, then we're doing it. You demand that we produce oil. It's everything that you consume nowadays in America or anywhere else in the world is made out of plastic. Every single thing that we do has something to do with oil. So to try to take oil out of the equation is nonsensical until you have a legitimate, real solution that actually works. That's cost affordable. We don't have that. So it ain't. I mean, and by the way, we are able to produce natural gas, oil, and various petroleum stuff a lot cleaner and safer than we used to as well. So just because we say that we're going to take away, it doesn't mean that we're going dirty. It just means that we're being realistic, I think. So I don't know.
Mike, you be so optimistic on these things. Before we had all of these EV regulations, it was horrible. You had smokestacks all over America. You couldn't breathe in some cities.
Yep.
Some cities were known for you can get a good job there, but you need to drive 2 hours out the city to breathe.
Yep.
I don't think that if you remove all of these EV regulations that we're not going to revert back to that. I think everybody if I'm a business and I can open up a manufacturing plant and I can save several $1 million a year by not following EV requirements.
Probably several $1 million a minute. Of course. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Which, by the way, is my whole argument with the climate change coalition and the whole world what was the Paris Accord or whatever. The problem with all of this is that none of these other countries
follow the shit.
Exactly. So we're gonna stand there and go, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. And then so we got us, France, Switzerland, and there's like 7 countries. Yeah, we're doing it. Okay, well, it's last time I checked, it's one world, one globe, and if they're building out a bunch of shit out of Nigeria or China or wherever we're manufacturing this stuff, let's be real. I mean, America's not producing most of that because we're not making most of the stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the problem.
That was partly how we were so easily sold on the idea of moving manufacturing out, because it was also labeled as something as cleansing our skies.
Yep. Load of crap.
Mike, Costco isn't waiting on the Supreme Court. They're suing now to claw back tariffs paid under President Trump's sweeping import taxes, which 2 federal courts have already ruled illegal. With nearly $90 billion on the line, the refund rush is on. Mike, if the court nukes these tariffs, do companies actually get that money back? And what does that mean for consumers?
Have you ever seen anybody or anything get money back from the government? Yeah, no, not going to happen. And particularly not going to happen if Trump gets his way and decides that he wants to give $2,000 to every citizen of the United States. What citizen do you know that's going to vote for Costco to get their money back and give up their $2,000 they're going to go in their pocket? Nobody's voting for that.
There are still a lot of people that, because I hear it in their discussions, there's still a lot of people that don't realize that the tariffs have been like really impactful here.
Big money.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, for sure. They have been.
Like the drone I just showed you, basically I paid almost 2 times as much.
Yep.
That's crazy.
We're having the same problem here in Mexico that when I buy something, just like the United States, everything that we buy here pretty much comes from China. And they put we have the same tariffs in place here in Mexico as the U.S. So, oh yeah, she matched. She's a Trumper. I mean,
that's beyond it. That's a sucker. Why would she do that? Would she put?
Well, because Mexico is trying to be the next China, right? And this all stemmed from BYD, from the automobile manufacturer from China. Their number one market in the world by far is here in Mexico. I see BYDs here all the time, and they are in Mexico. By the way, one of their biggest things in their economy is automobile manufacturing, mostly for U.S. automakers and others, European ones as well. So they're not big China fans here either. So she put the same tariff. She's been matching Trump's tariffs on China.
Well, I sure hope that she gets rewarded with something from America for doing it, because otherwise I don't see the benefit.
Yeah.
If she gets nothing from America and loses China,
well, they're making a lot of money too, though. Just like America, Mexico's been making money on the tariffs as well. So same situation going on down here. It's interesting. It's kind of funny. I mean, I know we have a lot of Americans that listen to the podcast, and I think Americans oftentimes are always thinking that like all this stuff is just in America or just happening in America, and it's not. This is a worldwide thing, and our dependence on China and our quote, I'll call it hatred for China or whatever we want to call it in the States, is not just America. It's shared by other places in the world. I mean, it wasn't just America that sent everything to China to get manufactured. It was everywhere. Everybody did that.
Right. So, Mike, Trump's administration is threatening to cut SNAP administrative funding to Democratic-led states unless they turn over recipient data, including names and immigration status, even as those states argue it's illegal and it's risky. A federal judge has already blocked the request for now. Mike, is this real fraud enforcement or a pressure tactic on blue states that could hurt food aid operations?
I'm going to say that I'm 100% in support of the federal government doing that. I think they should force it. I think I said this on a prior podcast. One of the top states for SNAP benefits was Massachusetts. I'm looking at the chart. Massachusetts is the most educated state in America. It's wealthy by and large. What the fuck is going on here? I can tell you what's going on here. There's a bunch of fraud going on, and it's happening because it's being controlled by people that are heavily in support of these kind of programs. So yeah, I think the federal government should. I'm on board with that. Shut off the funding.
Everybody has gone to school that lives in Boston.
Yeah, no shit.
Back when I lived there, I remember Googling it, so I'm sure it hasn't changed. The average person makes six figures in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they at the top?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
So that I could be wrong, but some people who are making money must be getting some SNAP benefits.
Yeah, and that's my point. So I think the federal government, look, if the money comes from the federal government, in my opinion, they have the right to audit it. So if they're the ones, it's different. If you told me that the state is funding the program, then okay,
Right.
then no, they can't. They don't have to turn over the information. But if the money is coming from the federal government, in my opinion, they have the right to audit it. I want to know where my money's going. So I want to be able to go, Massachusetts, show me the data, show me the people that are on this program, and prove to me that they all warrant it. I think there's nothing wrong with that request.
I would be fighting against it too if I was in government in Massachusetts, not because it's right, but because, man, what it would expose. I hope this comes through, because I think you're going to find out that the largest percentage of people receiving are going to be people who don't qualify, that should not be receiving it. I think a majority will be people that shouldn't be receiving it.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, and it's largely because if you actually read the program and actually look at how it was implemented, it's supposed to be a temporary thing, and it's supposed to be until you can get your back on your feet and get a job. I would say the overwhelmingly most people that go on the program, because I looked at another study of this, they don't come off of it. Once you get accepted into this thing, you're like a lifer. That's not what this thing was meant.
Instead of spending time trying to find a job, they spend more time trying to figure out how to stay qualified for the benefits.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not just throwing Massachusetts under the bus. Let me tell you, like, if you look at the top 20 states at the top of this thing, it was Washington, Oregon, California. I mean, it was interesting because as we know, a lot of federal money goes to the red states, because the red states are poorer, and they are they have less GDP, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of reasons, but so the SNAP thing did not play along with that same hypothesis, where you would expect then that the programs would be heavier in those red states. And it's not the case. It's the blue states that actually have heavier SNAP programs. So I think it should be audited.
Bro, here, I don't even think too many poor people, like most of them are homeless, so they don't have an address to be getting the benefits. The people, I believe a lot, I'm talking about just here in Oregon and Washington. It's a lot of children of rich kids getting these benefits.
Yeah.
That don't want to work.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's like I said, the biggest problem is that it's a permanent thing. Look, anybody can fall, anybody can have a problem, and anybody could legitimately need the program. I'm not denying that. However, the goal of the program was that you would get back on your feet, and that is definitely not what's occurring.
I'm all for that. If all of these subsidies and SNAP benefits and all of this other stuff, if they all returned back to the basic idea of this is to help you get back on your feet, I'm with keeping them all.
Yes, agreed. Me too. Yep.
But it's become the poor man's scam, and I'm not going to totally just poop on them, because on the other end of the spectrum, you have rich folks and businesses and stuff like that, and they just pull the same money from a different part.
Yep.
So everybody is looking for the government for some money.
And that's the problem. And that's what I was talking about earlier with this whole pandemic thing. That the pandemic thing largely went to wealthy people and businesses and wealthy businesses. And they didn't need it. A lot of people took a lot of money because it was granted to them. And shit, if you're gonna be given the money, you're gonna take it, right? Nobody's gonna say, "Oh no, I don't want that." So I mean, that's the problem.
So what I learned from several people about the COVID was, if you had a business that was doing horrible, that you were already getting ready to get out of, the COVID was the best thing in the world.
Ever happened.
You just kept that shit open for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and we laugh about it, but I mean, see, to me, that's the same. That's indicative of the same situation that's going on with Snap. It's the same. It's the same thing.
Oh, it's exactly the same. Mike, we covered a lot of stuff today.
We did. We probably pissed off some more people, which is good, because I tell you what, Phil, the more people we piss off, the more people will listen to our show. So it's actually a conundrum, but it's the truth.
I don't like that idea, but it's true, Mike, because
it's totally true.
I know what my DMs are saying, and I know
That's right.
the conversations I'm having with people, and it's never when they agree with me.
That's right.
Anything else you want to say, Mike?
Somebody under the bus today, but whatever.
That's our job.
That's our job. I know I got nothing left. I got nothing else. What I got is we're going to see you next week so we can piss off some more people about something else.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.